Pananatukan itself is a lot like boxing when you first look at it. It has jabs, it has crosses, uppercuts, hooks, slips, covers, bob and weaves. But when you're actually going through the material, you see the self-defense application, it has a lot more tools. It has finger jabs, elbows, forearms. The reason is it's originally a knife fighting system. In the Philippines, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when the American servicemen went into the Philippines, we were boxing at that time in the old John L. Sullivan position. Their hands out like this, leaning back, towing the line, so to speak, where you stood there and you just traded punches. When they went to the Philippines, the little Filipinos were bent over, they were crouched, they were moving, their head was moving, their feet were moving, their hands were in tight, because they were doing knife fighting. And the empty hand aspect was just a translation of their knife fighting. And if you put your arms out there in a knife fight, you get your arms cut. It also made your vital organs more vulnerable. You couldn't sit still because the knife is so dangerous, you can't afford just to trade blows. So with that influence, American boxing changed to this much more tighter, much more crouched position. You can also see that today. If you look at American boxers, professional boxers in America, and you look at professional boxers in Europe, Europeans still kind of box like this. They still stand up real tall and their arms are real wide. So they forever changed American boxing. With that, we also changed them. It went from being a self-defense system and a martial art, so to speak, to a sport. We introduced the boxing glove into the Philippines and said, here, this is a much more humane way to do this. Put these gloves on, it'll be much easier. And we introduced rules. And from the 1900s up until the 20s and 30s, many young Filipinos were professional boxers. They held titles, they were famous, they were on the cover of Ringside magazine, famous for the bolo punch, which came from chopping at the grass with a machete. It became an uppercut. So the Filipinos were very adept. It was just a natural translation to go from pananatukan into Western boxing.